What's up, everybody? It's your boy Joshua Edwards, live from Brooklyn, New York. This is Panthers Pride Television. The Super Bowl is officially on tomorrow, and then after that, every other NFL team is going to start preparing for the NFL Draft, the NFL Scouting Combine, and obviously other teams' Pro Day. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we know that the Carolina Panthers cap or salary cap is not the best right now, currently speaking. Jadeveon Clowney is a guy that the Carolina Panthers could possibly move on, and it's somebody that Alex Ballatine predicts the Carolina Panthers will actually trade to a division rival, the Tampa Bay freaking Buccaneers. So if we trade Jadeveon Clowney, it would save us an excess of about roughly $7 million, $8 million on the salary cap. And when you look at what he has been producing, how old he is, and what we basically got him for, we have not got a bang for our buck. Jadeveon Clowney this past season, 4 pass breakups, 0 forced fumbles, 46 tackles, 11 QB hits, 5.5 sacks. When you compare him to the Khalil Macks, which I have done in the past episodes, Khalil Mack clears him, and he's older than Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney is a former number 1 overall pick. The stats scream a third to fourth rounder type of guy. He is a guy that has not lived up to expectations his entire NFL career. So if I think that we can move off of him, yeah, go ahead. It's better than getting nothing from him. I understand that we would cut him and save, about $7 million, $8 million, but in a situation where we got a lot of holes on the Carolina Panthers, if we trade him to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a 5th rounder, for a 6th rounder, there's no way that we wouldn't, get value in that. And I think once we cut him, we'll eventually get a 3rd rounder for next year. But this right here, Jadeveon Clowney, is a guy that we need to move off on. You've seen Dan Morgan say one thing that we need is to beef up the defensive linemen. So I've been on record saying that I think we'll go Will Johnson. We should not take Malachi Starks with the 8th overall pick unless we trade back. But I think that we're going defensive back with the 1st pick unless we obviously get rid of Jadeveon Clowney or we make some more moves. So depending on who is there, I'm always going Will Smith with our number 1 overall 8th pick. Unless we get some safety help in free agency in Javon Hollins. And I think Jadeveon Clowney is a guy who would possibly be a salary cut, a cap casual, as we would like to call him. So, yeah, let's go ahead and just talk about Bryce Young. Now, Bryce Young was with Kay Adams right here in Super Bowl weekend down in New Orleans. He was on, what's her podcast called? Up and Show, or, yeah. Kay Adams Up and Show down in New Orleans, whatever he's talking about, just his overall stint or his overall experience after getting benched. And this was his comments, just talking about his growing influence within the Panthers' decision-making and with the Panthers' organization as a whole. Bryce Young revealing his growing influence with the Panthers' decision-making. He, Dan Morgan, is always asking me stuff. He wants me to send him things and give my opinion, which I'm super grateful for. That means a lot. I'm super grateful for. Now, if you guys remember him closing out the season after he got benched, after Andy Dalton got in that car accident that basically put him out for a week, Bryce Young was on a tear. Now, the 61.8 completion percentage, it has to get better. I'm not too worried about that. Him coming out of the draft, some of his key points was he was very accurate with the ball. So a lot of this stuff does not factor in, drop passes from Xavier Legette and just throwaways. So 61.8 completion percentage, whatever. 6 interceptions after getting benched, 2,104 passing yards, a 88.9 passer rating, and 15 total touchdowns. Now, Bryce Young is the guy for the Carolina Panthers moving forward. If you don't believe Bryce Young is the guy moving forward, you're not watching football. I think just the whole overall turnaround of his whole situation is why he's able to have input into the Panther organization. like I said, this is his comments about Dan Morgan. Dan Morgan is asking for his inputs. So I already know what Bryce is saying. Hey, I got to go get some more guys. Luther Burden, if he's there, Ted McMillan, I still don't think that we should take a receiver first round, but you got to get some pieces around Bryce Young. And we were bad defensively. 534 total points, the worst in NFL history. So when you just put all of that things into a combination, Bryce Young, along with our defense, I mean, just look at the numbers. The numbers speak for himself. He has been a whole nother player after the benching. Jake Delhomme was talking about how he saw a whole different transformation. Jake Delhomme was talking about him versus the Kansas City Chiefs and against the Philadelphia Eagles. And you're seeing just a lot of former quarterbacks that played at an elite level just for a couple years or however long they played at that elite level. They're giving Bryce Young his props just for the way that he has managed the whole benching and coming back situation. And this is what we were looking for. So David Tepper looked like he made the right decision. I still need people to have that same energy that they had about C.J. Stroud, him having better weapons, stuff that I was talking about early on in Bryce Young's career, and now we're seeing Bryce Young, the Alabama Bryce Young. So, man, it's just something that I look forward to just talking just for years to come about him. Now, Cam Newton. Cam Newton is another guy that's down there with ESPN, has his own show down there in New Orleans, and he was talking about his thoughts about being the number one overall selection to Travis Hunter during this time. So here is just a little quote of what he said. Cam Newton and Travis Hunter on possibly being the number one overall pick. I went into a locker room of losers. Guys didn't know how to win. Guys didn't know how to prepare. It was a culture shock for me. Now, he's not lying. We were, if you guys remember, before Cam Newton, we drafted Jimmy Clausen. Jimmy Clausen was a guy that Mel Kiper said if he does not pan out, he is retiring. Well, guess what? Jimmy Clausen didn't pan out, and Mel Kiper is still in the industry. So you got to understand, man, we went from having literally drafting Jimmy Clausen in our second round. He became the worst thing in Panthers history to having Cam Newton. His rookie season campaign was really it was the best rookie season we've ever seen until Andrew Luck. 4,051 passing yards. Yes, we were 6-10. We ended up drafting Luke Kuechly the next season, but 17 interceptions, 14 rushing touchdowns, a then NFL record for most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback, and 21 passing touchdowns. So if you just look at the rushing along with the passing, he accumulated 35 total touchdowns. As a rookie, he was throwing to Steve Smith. He was throwing to Greg Olsen. He literally transformed the Carolinas in what we were looking for since Jake Delhomme. He was our franchise quarterback, a former MVP, took us to the damn Super Bowl. So I think that what he said was right. When you're the number one overall selection or you're looking to be selected number one overall, 9 out of 10 times you're going to the worst. No, it's not 9 out of 10 times. 10 out of 10 times you're going to the worst team in NFL. Outside of like last year where the Chicago Bears had the number one overall pick because we traded them. Majority of the times, the first number one overall selection is going to the worst team in the National Football League. So if Travis Hunter goes to the Tennessee Titans, that's the worst team in the league. If he goes to the Cleveland Browns, that's the second worst team in the league. So, man, just to get his input, and if you remember, Bryce Young went number one overall. Any guy that goes number one overall is going to the worst team. So it's just good just to get his input on how the locker room was. Guys didn't know how to win. Guys didn't know how to prepare. These are guys at the highest level. This isn't college football. This is NFL pro football where you're getting paid millions, and guys are still learning how to prepare. Just speaks just to the magnitude of the Panthers organization, what we had before Cam Newton, and kind of just what we're getting back into, trying to become winners. So I look forward to us next season. Like I said, The Super Bowl is tomorrow. Hey, let's get to it. You're going to be hearing from me real soon. Panthers Pride, we out.